Hey Stars fans, welcome back to another episode of the Mighty Melbourne Stars podcast. Today it's me and Heath here reviewing the heartbreaking elimination final that took place at Ninja Stadium last night. How you doing today, Heath?
Yeah, pretty terrible to be honest. It was not good. It bloody hurts as being a Stars fan.
Yeah, so obviously we knew the rain was coming, and it certainly did hit quite heavy, and it lingered around for a long time. And at times we were quite worried as to if we were actually going to get a game. There was good signs, we went out, did the bat flip, 10 overs each, which we were pretty happy with. I think a lot of us thought it was going to be less, and obviously a huge positive to even win the bat flip, as we know our record with that is pretty successful. So how did you feel kind of once we had some hope, once the covers came off and we saw that the bat flip was in our success?
Yeah, I just wanted us to get a game in. Obviously, if we could if we just had like 10 overs in, I would have been thrilled, and we got that, and it all turned to shit after that.
Yeah, pretty much. So we'll start with the bowling kind of performance first. Look, at the start, I was pretty pleased. I mean, we got the huge wicket of Mitch Owen in the first over before he got destructive. And then Big Bo came in and just decided to punish us, really. Paired with, guys like Ben McDermott, Matty Wade coming to the crease, who we managed to shut down and take some crucial wickets. I think the Canes finished 5 down, if I'm not mistaken. So it was promising bowling from a lot of our guys like Pete Siddle, Harris Ralph did really well. So did Mitch Swepson as well, just limiting the runs. I think he was 11 off 2 overs, so that's pretty good for a T10 game. Even Glenn Maxwell started really well. But I think the big kind of negative out of the bowling was the Tom Curran situation when Stoin sent him into bowl for the last over. What do you make of that?
I think it was a terrible call by Stoinis. We could have bowled somebody else. Schwepson wouldn't have been a bad idea. He was actually bowling really well, but no, we decided to go for Curran, and it turned out to be our downfall as they put on a lot of runs, especially on Curran's bowling, which is not good enough.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, I want to look back to the Renegades game at the MCG in front of 68,000. It came down to the last over, and we had the choice to bowl Stoinis or to bowl Tom Curran, and Stoin took the responsibility on himself. Now, obviously, that didn't go to plan. We lost that game, and Stoin copped a lot for that. So we fast forward to last night, and we had the same situation, one more over, Stoin or Curran. This time, Stoin probably thought, well, I took it last time. It didn't go so well, so I'll give it to Curran. And it's an understandable decision. I mean, he's an international and arguably one of the best death bowlers in the world. And, he's paid the big bucks to do this role exactly. And unfortunately, he didn't execute. I believe the over went for 20 plus runs. So that's obviously really disappointing. And that was the nail in the coffin, essentially, for our season. Had he have been more economic, you never know, but it seems like we would have won the game, but you can't blame it on that. And then another thing I want to pinpoint as a negative from a bowling and fielding point of view was the drop catches. And as they say, catches win matches and drop catches lose matches. So it was 2 catches that were put down, and not only were they put down, but Bo Webster managed to capitalise, and Nikhil Chowdhury capitalise on it. Chowdhury was dropped and then went 6-6-2. It's like, that's costly. So what did you make of the drop catches?
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. Honestly, they were hard to see with the night sky, and obviously they misjudged them both. Maxi, he shouldn't be dropping those, and who was the other guy who
Tom
was it?
Curran dropped the
Oh,
second
Tom.
one.
Yeah, that was a lot easier than Maxi's, but still drop. You cannot afford to be dropping catches in this game where it's limited overs. You got to take your opportunities, and we didn't take our opportunities, unfortunately. And Cam Calloway showed everyone how to take a bloody catch.
Yeah, it seemed like it. The young gun was able to produce for us. But yeah, I mean, we understand the ball was probably soaked and the conditions weren't ideal at all for fielding, very slippery. But at the same time, if you're going to advance to a challenger final, then yeah, we had 2 chances. We put them both down, and well, it proved costly, and that was the result in the end. Chowdhury and Webster were able to make a nice partnership and put on some crucial runs in in those last 3 overs. So that kind of sums up the bowling. So obviously some great overs early on from our spinners, and then Ralph and Siddle, and then the disappointment came at the end when the Canes managed to get on top of us. Some more rain happened, throughout the innings break and early on in the second innings. We're going to move to our batting now. Now, the decision of Sam Harper and Tom Rogers to open the batting was an interesting one. A lot of thoughts from the fans around that last night. Certainly, what do you think of it?
They should not have opened. It should have been Maxwell and Stoinis opening, but they came in way too late, and it proved costly for us. They gave us hope as always, but we didn't make the right calls, and it backfired on us.
Yeah, 100%. Look, my personal opinion would have been to have either Stoin or Maxwell pair with Harper. I think it's understandable having Harper open just because of the season he's had. I mean, he just won player of the tournament, so big congratulations to him on that.
Mm.
And just the way he's been striking the ball, and he's in great form, so I have no issue with Harper at least opening. But I think he has to be paired with Stoinis or Maxwell when you've got arguably two of the best T20 players in the world over the past decade. Maybe not currently, but over the past 10 years, I think you have to pair one of them up top with Sam Harper. Having him come in at 4 and 5 is just too late at a T10 game, especially with the rain delay. It ended up being T7 for us. So that's just too late. And combined, Maxi and Stoin faced 9 balls combined together. So that's just obviously not enough. 9 out of 42 deliveries with our two biggest power hitters, no matter what form they're in. They're our two biggest power hitters. And unfortunately, it felt like they got the order wrong. But Peter Moores commented post game that he believed they got it right. Um, so you can make of that whatever you like. But Pete Moores said that Tom Rogers and Harper were the right guys, just considering their form and performances recently. He believed they made the right decision. And then Clark to come in at 3, I want to talk about. I don't have an issue as to where Clark came in, but I think maybe pushing Stoin, Maxi, or Hiltz up the order would have been a better idea. But hey, we have to give credit to Joe Clark as well. He's actually the reason we got back in the game. When we really think about it, we were 1 for 9 off 2 overs. The power play had finished. Some rain hit, and that was probably the lowest of lows at that point. And Clark just came out with energy, just pushed hard for 2s, 3s, and hit some lovely boundaries as well, and got the run rate back into a comfortable position, and really set us up for victory. So I think big shout out to Joe Clark, because he was copying a lot of strife in the past week about form and doubting him, and I think he really proved some people wrong. And Hilton Cartwright, take a bow, I think. Incredible effort. He probably came in the most difficult situation you could possibly be in, having to hit a boundary off every ball. And he did that times 3. Three boundaries in a row from his first 3 balls, not easy at all, and just fell short at the very end. What'd you make of Cartwright's performance at the back end?
Yeah, Cartwright was really good, and Joe Clark were really good too. They were the two batters that, like you said, saved our asses when we needed them, and it was That's the thing. Like, besides the performances, it's really that hope that gives you. It's the hope that kills you. They give us in those good positions, and then okay, we look like a chance, but then the momentum just doesn't go our way, and that's unfortunate. But we're gonna have to live with that now, and it's terrible to look back on. But real credit to Clark and Cartwright's performances.
Yeah, no, 100% agree. It's tough to finish the season this way. You kind of want to end it on a win. You want a better performance than that. And yeah, it was just rain, rain, rain all night. But yeah, huge credit to Clark and Cartwright. They're our two players of the game, I'd say. Just keeping us in it and keeping everybody entertained and hopeful. But yeah, I guess credit to the umpires for actually being able to give us a game. It was quite literally raining out there, and we continued to play, which is something I haven't really seen before. So huge credit to the umps for actually going ahead with it and being lenient with the rain situation. They wanted a result. They understand the circumstances. They understood the circumstances of the game. So huge shout out to all the ground staff as well. And just lastly on the batting, before we move on to some controversial DLS talk, I want to get your thoughts on the retirement of Sam Harper and the situation there. Obviously, Maxwell came in for that last kind of over and a half. You think it was the right decision?
I thought it was good. Like I understand why we did it, getting Harper and then Maxwell coming in, because Maxwell wanted to be the hero and he wanted to get going, and I understand why we did that. But honestly, did we really need to do that? Got mixed feelings about it.
Look, I'm pretty happy with the decision overall. And Sam Harper, lovely guy, he didn't mind at all. He understood who was coming in for him, and we had nothing to lose at that point in time. And I think you have to have your biggest hitters in. And if Maxwell's sitting in the sheds available, then there's really no reason not to bring him in. But that raises my point. If Peter Moores is gonna, or not Peter, the coaching staff are gonna retire one of the leading run scorers in the competition and send in Glenn Maxwell, they must really want Maxwell in. So why not open with him or have him higher in the order? That's kind of my point of view. Like, why didn't Maxwell open with Harper? And then if Harper wasn't going well, then you retire him for Stoinis, Cartwright, Clark. We just had a lot of options, and I think we just didn't execute our lineup 100% right. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my thought on the retirement situation. But yeah, I mean, Maxwell came in, hit a beautiful six, and then that's all. He was kind of stranded at the other end, really. You can't really talk too much about it because he actually only faced, I think, 4 balls or 3 or 4 balls in total. So you can't really talk too much about his innings. He did what he was required to. He came in and he hit a boundary, a maximum as well. So look, you can't talk on that too much. It was really down to Joe Clark and Hilton Cartwright and even Stoin at one point when he was dropped by Riley Meredith on the boundary. Did you catch that one?
I did, yeah. Honestly thought that he was going to get out, but lucky, it, we got so lucky with that. It went for six, because if Stornis had gotten out, it would have been bye bye. But that it's just us, and what we're known for is we are known for hope, and like I said, it just kills you every time. Like, it's frustrating.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It really did feel like this was kind of our season, and we'll dive deep into every game and kind of the thoughts on the season overall in our upcoming season review
Mm,
uh, later this week. So that'll be one to look out for. But just when we continue reviewing this game, the DLS, which was the big error, you could say. Some would say big positive. Some of the Canes fans would say it was a big topic of conversation.
mm.
So obviously the DLS is the technology that determines how many runs we have to chase at what rate and stuff like that when there's been a rain delay. Um, the Stars fans believe we got robbed, believed it was unfair. There was a lot of talk around that on social media, particularly last night. So we start our innings, and then there's some more rain, and we end up heading off the ground for about 10 minutes. Now in 10 minutes, we lost 3 overs of gameplay, which I think is already a little bit inaccurate. So they take away our innings from 10 overs to 7 overs. Now I have no issue with that if they're going to take away the correct amount of runs as well. And they factored in 10 runs and over. And my issue is we had a strike rate of above that, I believe, thanks to Joe Clark, who was striking the ball quite well and put us in a good position. Now they also didn't include the power surge into our innings. What do you think about that?
I thought that was unfair. Like, I'm confused. Like, how do the Hurricanes get their power surge, but we don't get a power surge? I know it was reduced overs, but we should have gotten the power surge. It was just BS.
Yeah. Well, I guess, yeah, the power surge was taken by the Canes in the 10th over, and I understand we didn't even get to a 10th over. We didn't even get an 8th over. But if you're going to take away the power surge, that's fine. But you have to account for the runs that we could have made in the surge as well, because we are surely making more than 10 runs in a power surge, I reckon. Like, that was a
Mm.
fantastic batting wicket, those wet conditions, the short square boundaries. Our run rate itself was higher than 10 and over. So I'm not sure how you can not account for that. And then, when you have the power surge restrictions, it's just, yeah, it's rough. So I think the DLS was miscalculated. I think they should have taken away a few more runs from that total. And look, if they had taken 2, 3 more runs away, we could have headed to a super over, or we could have even won the game. So it's heartbreaking from that point of view and situation, but there's not much we can do about it now, is there?
No, at least we actually got a game in, which was great. I didn't want it to be called off an automatic loss, but at least we got a game, and we. I guess the big question now is where to from here. It's back to back knockout losses. 15 seasons without a title. What next is pretty much my question.
Yeah. Well, you're not the only one saying that, Heath. I'll tell you that right now. I've had a lot of
Yep.
questions as to where to from here. What does Maxwell's future hold? When does the youth come in? When do things change? When do we lift that trophy? And the truth is, it's too early to tell on what
Mm,
next season will hold, because we have the free agency period coming up after the grand final. We have the international draft. We'll have players re-signing, players departing, all that kind of stuff coming in the off season. So we don't know what next season holds just yet. We have to wait and see. But look, I think the new era has begun, because you look at the start of this season, 4-0. We just look like a different team to last year. Would you agree?
yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and look, last year it was just kind of shit really from the start, and then managed to gain momentum, and we looked really good, and we were able to carry that through. The new jerseys, I think, look fine to start that real new era.
Yeah.
New management, who were really keen about success, and giving the fans what they want, which I think is a huge part of what's been able to be successful this season. And yeah, I just think the new era has begun. I think Stoin did a really good job with the captaincy overall this year. We did bring some youth in. We saw Blake McDonald have a nice run. Campbell Callaway played the whole season and was crucial for a few games early. So shout out to Campbell on an outstanding breakout season. Sam Harper, you could call him young if you want. Still, he's 29, but he was he had his not breakout year, I'd say, because obviously he had great form at the Renegades. I'll call it a revival. He
Yeah.
was back to his old self. This was his breakout at the Stars, you could say, after a couple of rough years. And look how he turned out. Tom Rogers, obviously a few up and down performances, is still a bit lost on my thoughts on him, really. I haven't really made a decision as to what I rate his season. But yeah, look, it was very up and down, wasn't it?
Yeah, I actually do have a rating for Rogers' season.
Mm. Yeah,
Uh, Probably a six to 7 out of 10, around that mark.
yeah, yeah. I
Like
mean, yeah.
he's
Go
been
ahead.
he's been okay, but he's just also been terrible as well. He's had a couple of good performances, but he hasn't. He's set
Yeah,
2 games on fire, but we need more from him. He's got potential, but he's frustrating.
yeah. And look, unfortunately, last night was one of those frustrating nights for him. 4 off 5, I believe. So that's a low. I know it's only 5 balls, but it's a very low strike rate for a T10 game in an elimination final where we really have to be capitalising on every ball. And he was bowled out from the pace of Riley Meredith. So yeah, he unfortunately couldn't handle the heat. But yeah, I think that wraps up everything from last night. We spoke on the DLS power
Yeah.
surge situation or miscalculation. Cricket Australia, I think, should have a rescheduling rule. That's the last point I want to talk about.
Mm.
I understand the season, things happen quickly. What? We started on the 15th of December, the Big Bash. The Stars played on the 18th, and we finished our last game on the 21st. So that's just over a month. So it's a
Mm.
crazy short season, and everything is jam packed in day by day. But what if we just started a couple days earlier and then left a couple more days spread out in finals for a potential reschedule. Or one person even mentioned having a mutual venue, Marvel Stadium, perhaps with the roof, just as a backup. Because I understand we can't reschedule games during the regular season because things happen and move too quickly, and we have to move on. But for finals, I mean, surely it's something to consider. Yes, I know that we have the Pakistan T20 tournament series upcoming for Australia, so players have to go there, and I know we have the World Cup to prepare for. But if we just moved things back a few more days, potentially earlier, then maybe we could fit in time for a reschedule, because I'm sure the players would be up to it. They'd much rather play back-to-back games or games with a one-day break opposed to being washed out. What do you think about a potential reschedule rule in future?
That'd be great. I actually would not be opposed to that because take a look at last night's game. It should have been rescheduled. If it was going to rain, then we'd be like, "Nope, sorry, reschedule for a different day." It's not going to hurt like the preparation and the recovery and everything. I reckon it'll be fantastic. Someone's got to go to Cricket Australia and be like, "Hey, we should do this in reschedule for T20." It'd be based on the weather. You'd think like obviously not in
Yeah.
Perth, but like Hobart. You can't control the weather, but in case if it happens again on the off chance.
Yeah, 100%. And instead, they decided to bring in the designated batter rule for BBL 16, which I think is unnecessary. But yeah,
Yeah.
look, we've wrapped up. We wrapped up that Cricket Australia decision, and we've talked about batting and bowling. I think we have covered everything. It was a huge night for me last night. The amount of updates and messaging fans. I reckon I had about 50 different messages coming through.
Mm.
People spamming, not in a bad way, but just asking for updates. Rain. I had the radar going on my laptop the whole time.
Yeah.
Um, my hand was just about cramping at the end from the amount of typing I had to do, responding to everyone. The screen time was pretty high yesterday. I was very tired. It felt like I was at work, just about sitting on the couch there responding to everyone. It was quite the effort. Um, but I was prepared for it, given it was a finals game and there was rain. I knew I was going to be put to work.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you all for the support throughout the season. I know it sounds like I was complaining then, but I absolutely love it. Um, Messaging you all, keeping you all updated. I'm grateful that you guys can actually trust me as someone who will give you accurate information. And we thank you all for listening to the podcast and supporting our accounts throughout the year. But we're not going anywhere, are we, Heath?
No,
There's still
no,
plenty more content to come
yes.
throughout the off season. So it'll be a season review up next. We'll go through every player's season, every game. It'll be quite a lengthy review where we really dive in deep. And then trade period or free agency signing period just after the grand final, early February, late December. We'll cover that, and then probably a short break before the draft kicks off.
Yeah, and obviously, I'll let's end on this. I know we're not in the in the finals. Well, we got knocked out. So, who's your pick for the title against the Scorchers?
I'll go the Hobart Hurricanes. I know they just kicked us out, but I really don't want to see I really don't want to see the Sixers or Scorchers win another one. It's too boring at this point. It was our year, but look, I'll back the Hurricanes. I think I don't mind them.
Mm,
What about you?
I don't know. It's hard. Like Sixers and Scorchers, Hurricanes. Whoever whoever's on the better on the day. But honestly, you'd think Perth would win just because it's over in Perth. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going with Perth Scorchers. I know it's a boring option, but it's like if it was anywhere else, I'd choose it. Probably either Sixers or Hurricanes. But just because it's in Perth, I'm like Scorchers will probably get it done again for the sixth time.
Yeah, they are in the prime position to do so. They've been pretty up and down in ways, the Scorchers, and so have the
Mm.
Sixers. And look, it was hard to tell last night what the Canes are really capable of with that rain. But yeah, we wait and see. It's been a fantastic BBL season, plenty of action, and plenty of action from the Stars as well. I think the start to the season we had was incredible. Had a few ups and downs, but managed to get a final spot, which
Yeah.
in November, if you had asked me, if you had given me an option to finish fourth in the finals, I probably would have taken it, to be honest. I think
Mm.
the competition looked really, really strong this year. And
Yeah.
I mean, I had us finishing fourth in my predictions. So, yeah, I'll take it. We move on to next season. And, yeah, as I mentioned, plenty of content to come. So do not go anywhere, guys. I think that's it.
Yeah, definitely. And also the YouTube channel hit 103 subscribers, so that's fantastic. So thank you for all the fans for watching and listening to us rant and rave and bitch about the Stars, but we love it. There wasn't really much ranting and bitching because we actually started well, and we look to continue to grow the subscriber count, and yeah, more videos come our way. The more subscribers we get, and the more times we jump on and do this stuff. So we love each and every one of you, and thank you, fans, for watching us throughout the year. And I guess we'll see you in the next video, which will be sometime this week,
This
I
week.
think.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a few days.
Yeah.
Alrighty, sounds good. Thank you, everybody, and go Stars.
Yeah, go Stars.
What you doing? You just wanna